Hello/X/. This is the first time I've ever been to the English side of 4chan, so please forgive me if I have any grammar errors or spelling errors or such, as my English is only passable at best, and I am having a friend help me translate so that this is more readable, and understanding is easy for you. I posted my story on Vok2 and they call me a fool and a fraud, but that doesn't change the truth. This happened to me more than a decade ago, and I have only now come to terms with what happened to me and the things I saw going on. I am telling the truth even if you don't believe. I was given job on a boat as crew on a ship that was going to Antarctica. Nothing fancy, they made me scrub toilets and clean the floor and such. After that they gave me another job which I didn't understand at first, but bags of money mean I didn't think long about it and said yes yes yes. My friend will green text shortly. Was just a casual employee who was called upon randomly when they needed extra crew. Not a permanent employee. Got the job through a friend who wanted to quit. Said he would put my name in as a replacement, and because it was short notice I would most likely be accepted. Had nothing back home to stop me. No family, parents dead, no GF, very few friends outside work. Pretty much a ghost in society, and I needed cash. Was told it would be around an 8-week or so trip. We weren't heading straight there. They were doing some kind of experiment or testing or something and studying the ice and the water and sea life or whatever. I was just a toilet scrubber, so I can't tell you any more than what I saw firsthand. Anything to do with science I would have to guess, or you can guess. Ship was called something like Pyramid Vessel, I think, in English. Weird name, but didn't mean anything at the time. Ships always get weird names like SS But F or SS USA Freedom. My friends say this is a funny joke, so I include it. I'd never been out at sea for long, so I was a little nervous. 8 weeks without TV or internet or relaxing in a chair is a long time for me. Crew were all very nice and they helped calm my nerves quickly and assured me that things would be quick and easy. Plus my job meant not really doing anything hard. Scrub toilet, scrub floor, change bed, make food, simple and easy. We all got a briefing about what would happen, so I'll try and say as much as I remember. I don't remember the exact terms, but it was for marine science, and scientists from everywhere were studying the sea ice and also sea life and the atmosphere. After that, we would be stopping off on the continent at a base with more research and then back home. We set sail late at night from DC to St. Petersburg, if you don't know. Weather was surprisingly calm and welcoming, and I didn't feel too anxious even though it was my first time. It was maybe about a week and a half before we started seeing ice. Most of the trip was really boring and I would just be telling you about me cleaning, so I will skip to when we dock and go to what they call the ice station, which is basically just a research lab thing. What feels like forever passes and we finally get there and dock. They tell us we won't be here for long, they're just sharing some findings and exchanging research and then we'll be gone. Told to wait in the ship and have to sleep in the freezing cold quarters instead of at the station where the scientists and higher-ups get to relax. Miserable time. Basically bored out of my mind with nowhere to go and nothing to do for about 5 days straight. Morning of the 6th day, hear a helicopter flying overhead. WTF is going on? Basically, they have a search and rescue helicopter parked at the base, but it basically never ever gets used under any circumstances unless it's a very serious situation. That's what I got told anyway. Couple of scientists and other crew have returned briefly and I asked WTF is going on. Such a weird situation. They tell me nothing to worry about, just investigating something down the way. Turns out the French had an incident at one of their stations and there's a few people who died. WTF happened? I have -100 charisma, and no one will tell me anything more, and trying to overhear anything is pointless because they're not stupid enough to discuss things where us lowly crew can overhear. Back to doing nothing for quite a while. After a few more days the boss of the ship calls me into the captain's quarters because he says he needs to talk to me privately. Yep, I'm definitely about to get beaten up for asking too many questions. I walk in, he tells me to take a seat. One other guy in there already sitting, he is also a low crew member like me. Have seen him cleaning dishes and such but have never spoken to him. Boss is very stern and serious and asks us to remain quiet until he has finished speaking and to take everything he is about to say as 100% serious and not a laugh. He tells me, look Artyom, big money. Just need one little favor from you. Ivan has already agreed, you and him together twice as quick and same amount of money, yes? I look at Ivan and then back to him and nod and tell him I need money very badly. Definitely a little skeptical because I have no expertise in anything, so it must be some manual labor or something. Something even an idiot like me can do without messing up. This is something big, Artyom, yes. Big discovery for big money. Maybe it get you famous and we both get rich, we found something underneath ice. Perfectly safe, French fool's been in there already. But you know how French are, they run away scared at first sight of anything. Very easy task, just takes a lot of strength and time, and we have to be up here to monitor everything. Artyom, Ivan, you go in, you follow our directions exactly and don't go anywhere else, you open this door, and you grab what's in there. I can trust you, yes? We both nod and I keep staring intently. This place, Artyom, very old. Maybe some old traps but nothing scary. Old traps by old fools and we tell you where they all are, just follow our path. I'm hesitant at the mention of traps until he tells me how much. More rubles than I have ever seen before in my life, and I can't say no. I could easily buy a house and never work a stupid job again. Sounds simple enough. Go in, follow the path, don't step on traps and grab what they want. The boss leads us into the ice station, which we were told we were forbidden from going anywhere near because it's for scientists and research only. Feels like we're breaking the law. The station itself wasn't that big but had various computers and other things for monitoring. Was more like a housing unit. When the boss led me down the massive staircase to show me what I would be going into, I thought he was making joke with me. At the very bottom right in front of me was a big entrance. An entrance to a pyramid. I wish I was kidding. It was some kind of ice pyramid and was massive in size. Don't know how they managed to find it or how it even fit under here. Weird, but they clearly want to keep it a secret from the public. Feels like I'm in some kind of movie. Boss passes me off to some science-looking people and he tells me I'm in good hands. He told me not to worry and that he'd be at the monitors the whole time watching our progress. Start getting a briefing and lots of science bullshit blah blah. I didn't understand half of it. They start handing me and Ivan some gear like a body camera each and an earpiece headset type thing. Tells me they'll have a live feed and be able to talk to me the whole way through. They hand me a map that they've printed out but it's missing bits. The map shows our path and a few things around, but there's a lot of blank spaces and voids where other things clearly should be. It looks like in a video game when you haven't seen everything yet, so the map is only partially shown and other locations are hidden. Like that but physical form. They tell us that we have to follow the map exactly and that if we don't follow the exact way then they won't be able to help us. The path they've laid out is the only safe one. Sounds simple enough, and we confirm that we're not raging idiots and we won't stray from the path and will follow every order. I try to ask about the thing they want us to grab but they won't give any details. They just tell us it's some kind of key for something and it's very important. They tell us that anything else is classified and we're on a need-to-know basis. We're finally ready and they sent us in. We pull out the map and start following the directions, but even the mapped out bits don't tell the whole story. Place is huge and complicated. It's like a really detailed temple with all sorts of carvings and letters in the wall, but not Russian. The letters aren't English alphabet, they look more like some kind of script, like maybe Arabic or some weird kind of language like that. I ask on the headset what it says, and they tell me they don't know yet. I ask if it's Arabic and they say no and to ignore it. Maybe some kind of ancient language, I guess. Judging from the response, they either haven't been able to decipher it or they haven't. Telling me would be bad news. The size of the temple was crazy. It was like walking through a giant city way bigger than DC-1. You could fit millions of people down here. The map showed a straightforward path, but the path in real life was not as simple as the map said. It would show go forward for a little bit and then turn right, but in real life the path would wind or there would be small nooks we had to squeeze through or crawl under. That made me worried about traps the boss mentioned. They weren't joking when they said that it was time-consuming task. We walked for hours. Everywhere we walked, hundreds of different rooms to choose from, and they had to keep telling us which door, which slowed the journey down even more. After about an hour into the journey we ran into some big trouble, which is where most of the story is about. We reach a forked path with two different doors with symbols on. The symbols are weird. One looks just like a jumble of shapes, like a square and a hexagon joining and fusing, and then an upside down triangle jutting in from the top. The other symbol was familiar. I had seen it before, definitely. I nudged Ivan and he agreed, and we were both trying to figure it out. It was a triangle with an eye, like the Illuminati meme thing, and we thought it was funny. The guy on the headset told us that was the right one and to push the symbol in and it would open. We did as he said and opened the door. It opened up and Ivan took a step through first. As soon as he stepped through to the other side, I heard the click. It was distinct and metallic, and the next few moments felt like they were in slow motion. Ivan turned to look at me, and as he did, an arrow came hurtling at him and it hit him in his lower abdomen. He screamed out in pain and fell to the floor back on my side of the door. I felt like I was frozen, but my instincts took over me and I dove to the floor as the arrows kept coming. Ivan is on the floor in pain screaming, and I am screaming down the headset saying, "WTF, WTF, you told us this path was safe," and the scientist on the other end, I can hear the panicking in his voice. He just keeps blabbing and repeating, "I don't know what happened, this path was marked." I ask him, "WTF we do now?" and he tells me to close the other door if we can and they'll recalculate our route, whatever the hell that means. The arrows that are being shot through have a timing to them, and I managed to quickly shut the door. I try helping Ivan, but he has an arrow wedged in him and it looks bad. I position myself so the body cam can get a good look, and they tell me the wound isn't fatal but it will hurt a lot. They tell me to remove it and put some pressure on it for a while using clothes and then to keep moving. No way am I going any further, we are coming right back. Forget the money, dying to some stupid arrow trap isn't worth it. They tell us we can't come back. Like hell we can't, I'm following this map all the way back. The scientist tells us we can't go back because the map is fake. What? That's why the map was so basic and barely matched anything in real life. It was a fake one to give us a sense of safety, but in reality no one had ever managed to make it this far. Going back the same way also wasn't possible because once you go through a door, that's it, you're on a set path. The scientist said that sometimes the doors look the same, but the paths are different each time, like the pyramid changes shape or moves itself in order to protect it. I don't understand a word he's saying and I'm just panicking. Even though Ivan is in pain, he manages to help me calm down a little bit and he tells me it's okay and that he knew about this. You effing knew. Why didn't you go yourself? Said that 2 people were needed, so just in case something happened there would be someone to relay everything back and make sure camera feeds and all the information for the crew was accurate or some shit. Also said that an extra person would give them one more chance to try a different course if the path they came up with wasn't right. WTF. This was turning into some kind of cruel game show or something. The only way to make it was to go forward to the artifact and the loop around the other way, or hope there's another way out. Blind hope. That's all they've given us. We continued through the other forked door instead and made our way through. No trap this time, thankfully. They had some kind of system they came up with for us to follow that they didn't really explain to me, but it sounded complicated and like they knew at least something. Something about the geometry of the symbols tells you about traps and other things. It didn't really make sense to me, but I had no choice but to trust. We continued on through multiple doors for maybe another 15 or 20 minutes until we came to a weird room. It was big and open. Had what looked like sand all around the floor instead of stone. In the middle of it was a skeleton. A massive skeleton, a giant one. It looked human and had all of the right structure to be a human, but it was truly massive. It was wearing some kind of weird armor. It looked like a golden yellow, but I don't know if it was actually gold. The giant human skeleton was looking up almost to the ceiling at something it was holding in its hands. It was holding a skull of some kind of creature, but it didn't look like any creature I ever saw before. It had weirdly shaped horns coming from both sides of the head that curled, and it didn't have very many teeth, but the ones it did have were big and looked like they could bite a person in half. We made our way past it and noticed there was some kind of inscription underneath its feet, but it was in that weird language again. I don't know what it said. We made our way through the next door they told us about, and Ivan immediately shot over to the end of the room as fast as he could with his injury. He looked weirdly happy and like we had stumbled on some big secret, but the room seemed similar to the hundreds that we'd already been through. Definitely no traps though, or Ivan would have been dead by now. There was something weird at the end of the room though. It looked like some kind of indent. Voices were buzzing in our ears through the headset, giving us lots of instructions about what to do and to be careful and stuff. The room wasn't very big, but it did stretch forward a fair bit. I walked to the end where Ivan is, and he has a massive grin on his face and is babbling something I can't really understand and keeps going on and on. Something about how no one else can have this and how this is one of the things they were looking for, and it's his because he did all the work, and some other stuff. I ask him WTF he means, but he doesn't answer and is fixated on this blue vial kind of thing that he was holding, which matches the shape of the indent in the wall. He unscrews the vial and gulps it down in one go, and the voices on the headset start erupting in anger and fury at Ivan and me for me not stopping him. Ivan is just laughing to himself and mumbles something about how those idiots won't be able to kill me now. Over the course of the next minute I see the smile wipe from his face completely, and he starts clutching at his throat. He is clutching at it and motioning towards me for help, and as he is doing this I see his veins start bulging and I can see they're really blue. But it's not his veins bulging, Ivan is turning blue. His whole body gradually turning to an icy shade of blue. He drops to the floor in a heap and doesn't move anymore. I have 1,000-yard stare for a while before the voices bring me back to real life. I try to ask them WTF just happened, but they tell me to shut up and listen. I ask if that was the thing they were looking for and they tell me to shut up again. They tell me to grab Ivan's gear and to head straight back the way I came as best as I can while being extra careful. I say, what about what you said about the path changing, and they tell me I either do what they say and pay attention, or I am just like Ivan. They tell me to pick up the vial too and be careful not to touch any leftover in the vial. They tell me they've been drawing my path and doing calculations on the symbols on the doors, and they think they have a bit of a better idea of how it works now. I won't tell you whole story of the way back because a lot of it was a lot of the same except a few differences and a few things going wrong, but I made it back alive. I followed their path they told me, and I managed to not get shot by an arrow or fall into a hole. When I got back I thought they were gonna kill me, but I got taken into a small room with a few official-looking men from Russia who had a stern talk with me. They buttered me up and said things like how they know I'm a big patriot and wouldn't betray my country, and that I couldn't tell anyone because if other countries know about me going in, then bad things would happen for Russia and that it would be worse than just me being killed. They told me they would still give me some of the money even though I failed them, and they shipped me back on the same boat I came there on. The boss avoided me on the way back and told me to back off when I tried to ask him about what happened, and the crew all started to treat me like I was an alien, even the other cleaner guys. I'm not in Russia anymore, I am in Latvia for the past few years, and I changed my name officially while here because I was paranoid, but I don't think they care anymore. I've seen a few stories translated in Russian from here about things in Antarctica, and it seems like they don't try to kill anyone for it, so I decided to do the same. Any questions for me, I'll try my best to answer, but it's been quite a long time now, so I don't remember all of the details, and I'm not good with the science either. My friend will help translate your questions and my answers. Still, he is Latvian guy and speaks English better than me.